introduce Dan. Welcome back to the show. Appreciate you coming back on.
Second time.
Yeah, second time. Lots has changed.
Episode 3 was the last time.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, episode 3 about almost a year ago.
Nice.
But lots changed. The big thing is the acquisition of BioSteel.
Yeah.
You are the CEO?
Yeah, like, I guess, technically. Yeah.
Okay, so talk to us about it. Like, what made you purchase BioSteel?
Well, I ended up hearing that it was up for bankruptcy. And at that point in time, I knew it was huge. Like, I saw it in the rinks. I saw it on baseball fields everywhere. I saw it was, like, the main thing in the NHL. Sponsored by Connor McDavid, Mahomes, or they were sponsoring Mahomes, McDavid, and
Big sports.
yeah, big man, like the Lakers, the Raptors, the Blue Jays, multiple NHL teams. Like it was wild, man. And when they claimed bankruptcy, I thought it was already crazy that was happening because it was such a profound brand out in the market. And I remember Clark at work was like, we should really take a look at this. And I was like, dude, like, come on. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's BioSteel, right? Yeah. And I remember playing hockey. After I was playing competitive hockey younger, and I was like playing adult beer league, whatever. I do remember seeing BioSteel. And it was everywhere still, even there, especially in the FGL group, like Canadian Tire, Sports Check, National Sports at the time. Mm-hmm. So I remember seeing it was like Drink the Pink at that point in time, right? So so I knew about it. I had never tried it, but I knew about it. And then obviously, as of late, it was just everywhere. So then they claimed bankruptcy. Clark's like, listen, we should really take a look at this. And I was like, dude, like, okay, fine, let's try to go after it, but what do you actually expect to do with it? And we started kind of going down, down the rabbit hole on this thing. And I was like, listen, you need to put a value on what you think this thing's going to go for. And he ends up coming back, and he's like, just the brand equity alone. So let me back up a little bit. So after I asked him to put a value on it, that's when we had gotten the data room. Like access to the data room. So it was actually a really interesting process. They actually vet you prior to even giving you access to anything. Sure. Right? Because they need to know that they're not going to waste any time with a potential buyer that is going to waste their time and because these bankruptcy things, they go quick. Like this was a very quick deal. And so they vetted me. I almost had to apply, pretty much. I had to apply to buy it. And it was with an investment bank that was soliciting the deal out of Toronto and called Greenhill. And made it past that stage, got the data room, and I was like, Clark, like, listen, like, rip it apart. He loves this kind of stuff. So I was like, rip it apart, get a value. What do you think it's actually going to trade for? And we come back, and he's like, dude, this is going to go for like 9 figures. So I was like, oh man, like, how's it, like 9 figures. He was like, and I was like, okay, well, what about like typically in a bankruptcy deal? I was like, well, that sounds wild, first of all. But typically in a bankruptcy deal, it trades for asset value. And he's like, no. He's like, I could see a big company, buying this thing for 9 figures based off asset value because there was equipment, there was the brand equity in the market, there was the domains, the websites, the trademarks. They got trademarks all over I just got an email on the way here for renewing the trademark in China. Like there's trademarks everywhere for this brand. The brand equity in the market was super strong. The relationships were next level endorsements and things like that. And then they also had, there was 9 figures worth of inventory across North America. Like that's a lot of inventory, right? Wow, so yeah, like 9 figures. I'm not even kidding. So I'm like, well, that's wild. So I'm like, okay, well, you know what? Worst case scenario, let's shoot our shot. Let's make a go of it. our strength, the way I positioned it is our strength was that we can close quick, but we're not coming in nearly as high as what we actually think it's going to go for, and we just submitted a bid. Made it past the second round, I guess you could say. They vetted us a little bit more, and they kind of came back and they were like, we negotiated a little bit here and there. It turns out I didn't end up assuming the equipment down in Verona, which is like I didn't want anyways, to be honest with you, because it was older equipment and didn't come with the building. I don't want another manufacturing facility, 12-hour drive away. Right. I don't want to run another crew down there in the States, so I didn't even want that, but I threw it in the deal anyway, so just kind of make it all like an all or nothing thing. Mm-hmm. But we negotiated and like literally within, I think it was like a month. You had to close within a month, come up with the money, and that was it. And It was done. Like they didn't even they positioned it where it's like listen, if you come in and you got all these conditions and things like that, forget it. Like just forget it. It's not happening. So I ended up having a meeting with some people up in Toronto that were like pretty close to the deal. I wouldn't say pretty close to the deal, but had some like insider stuff. Like there were some pretty serious brands looking at this thing, like Procter and Gamble.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Gatorade.
No, I didn't hear anything like that, Gatorade, but like I've been getting hit up by like some pretty there was multiple juggernaut brands looking at this.
How did you succeed with competing with those?
Because they had conditions in their offers. Yeah, they couldn't, and they also couldn't get around. They some serious brands that were asking a lot of questions were also having a really difficult time getting around or getting past the $15 million a month cash burn. Like that's what the company was burning every month, which is like public, right? Like that's public knowledge. Yeah. So they couldn't so these big brands were like, how the fuck are we going to get over, or how are we going to how are we going to get to a point where this business isn't doing $15 million in losses a month? Right. Because I'm going to guess what their position was, or the position that they took and why they couldn't get over that was, in order for the brand to be like, when I took the brand over, it was tracking to do $140 million in sales. So I am assuming that these guys were looking at it from a point of view of, in order to do $140 million in sales, it needs $210 million in spend, which is like what it was spending to accomplish that, right? I'm assuming that that's what it was. Yeah. But I wasn't looking at it like that. Right. I was looking at it from a perspective of, if I buy the brand and only maintain Amazon and the website business, it's still a decent deal. So, lo and behold, not only did we maintain, obviously, the website and Amazon, we maintained Costco, Loblaws, Sobeys, 7-Eleven, Metro, like Cormark, like the FGL group. So, like, yeah, like huge, like huge. Yeah. So, like, we'll do like 70 mil this year, like with the brand 1 year, first year. So, like, it's. You know what I mean?
That's amazing.
So it was.
So obviously we'll do half of what it was tracking for at its highest point, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Cut your overhead. Your marketing expenses were way up there.
Yeah, huge. They were insane. So yeah, like I can't like openly talk about it, but like the actual the actual like what it was spending, like amazing. That type of stuff, what it was spending. But yeah, like essentially we I took it over with no employees, just us over there at Canadian Protein, and no marketing. Now we're starting to turn the marketing floodgates on, right? Yeah. So, but we were just mainly focused on just like staying afloat at the beginning, because I didn't want to assume any employees, because I don't know who was like truly responsible for fucking it up.
Right.
So why am I going to assume a bunch of employees that I don't even know?
Sure. So you didn't take on anybody?
Nobody.
Good for you.
So I do have now. So
talk about trimming the fat.
Yeah. So I do have 2 retail guys. I've got 2 logistics guys, because there's a lot of logistics with this. Like we're spending we're tracking to spend like $6 million just on logistics, storage, like moving trucks all over the place. Like right now we've got like this stuff going into Costco. We've got trucks we've got like, I don't even know, like 10 trucks a day moving out those mix packs, like 24 mix packs going to all the Costco's in Canada right now. So like the logistics are insane on this deal. So, or on this brand. But so we've got like, so we're running it with, I would say probably 4 main guys split 50-50 between like CP and this. And then the other guys I'd probably say are full-time, like the logistics and the retailers. They're obviously full-time, but yeah, like we're going to do a fraction of everything.
That's wild
yeah,
for you.
yeah,
So how long's it been now? How many months are we in?
Fuck, 4?
4 months.
4 or 5 months, yeah.
So
Feels longer.
from point A to now, like what's the biggest? Talk to me about the experience so far. I'm sure it's been pretty.
Yeah, it's been wild. So like I don't come from the retail world, right? Like so understanding how retail works versus like e-commerce. Canadian Protein's in Costco,
Sure.
But
They weren't before.
it's
fairly new, right?
Yeah, it's going on. It's going to be about a year in September.
Yep.
But the Costco business is also it's similar to the retail world, and it is retail, but it's also a lot more streamlined and efficient than your typical retailer, right? It's put it this way. I'll give you an idea how this works. So, let's talk about BioSteel, for example. The BioSteel business in Costco will be probably like $25 million, and it's arguably the same, if not maybe a little bit less than say the same account at $1 million. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the same amount of stuff and bullshit and everything,
Yeah.
but Costco moves
Gotcha.
10 to 20 times the amount of volume,
Right.
right? So they also work off less margin.
Yeah.
Like we're also working off less margin with Costco, but like I mean,
Sure.
the numbers are staggering.
Crazy, eh?
Yeah, they're staggering, man.
So you guys are in Canada. Where else?
Where else?
Yeah.
Oh, we're in the States too. Pure Hockey.
US.
I just had a call with a guy today. That is like a CPG. I guess I don't know what expert, but a CPG retail guy, for lack of a better term, that has a lot of experience in this, like the beverage and CPG world, like consumer packaged goods.
Okay.
So he's pretty like this brand was not even the RTDs, but like the powders, like just the powders alone were in like 30,000 doors in the States. So now we're now it's completely stripped away in the States. We're just dealing with guys that are coming to us saying like, hey, listen, we really want to still carry the brand. Like it's still in the States, but very select areas. I needed to focus on Canada and get that back on track.
Right.
The U.S. is a different animal. If you're not like owned by Coke or Pepsi,
good luck.
you gotta hop on the, like for this stuff, the beverages, you gotta hop on the alcohol trucks, and they just completely rape you.
Really?
Oh, big time, yeah. For the margins and everything, it's really
a whole
tough.
different world.
It really is.
So that would be phase 2, focus on the US.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, phase 2, focus on the U.S., get back into 30,000 doors.
So hold on a second.
Yeah.
Episode 3, when you were here, you were a $200 million man. What are you now? Episode 16.
I don't know, man. It's hard to say, right? Hard to
Oh my God,
say.
you're getting there. You're getting there.
Hard to say.
Road to $1 billion.
Yeah,
Road to $1 billion.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Couple more acquisitions.
Give
like that.
me a couple more months. I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Give me a couple more months. I'll let you know.
It's
Yeah.
exciting. Man.
Yeah, it's cool,
Congratulations. It's really
Yeah, no,
it's
that's
an amazing
awesome.
feat.
Yeah. A lot of people wrote us off. Didn't think we were going to be able to do it, but we did it.
Good for you.
Yeah.
It's a lot of hard work.
It
I
was a
can
lot of
imagine.
hard work. A lot of sleepless nights, that's for sure.
I could imagine.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go. You're also into real estate. Obviously, you're a big real estate investor. So talk to us about the current real estate market, how that's changed from the last time you were here. I just want to read this quote from Barry Sternlich from Fortune. Expect at least one bank failure every week because of real estate collapse, says billionaire real estate investor Barry Sternlich.
Referring to the U.S., I presume.
Referring to the U.S. But let's take you're a big real estate investor in Canada.
Yeah.
But actually, you like the U.S. You prefer the U.S.
I like the U.S.
over
better,
Canada.
yeah.
So what's the status there? How's that going?
In the U.S.?
No, you have a good
Yeah.
insight on the real estate
So
market.
maybe I guess you could say I do. Maybe I don't. I don't really. I'm not the guy to predict the market.
Yeah.
I don't agree with Barry there. I don't care if he's $1 billion investor. Like I don't typically agree with that.
Yeah.
Barry should know that it's a simple supply and demand scenario.
Yeah.
The U.S. just doesn't have enough housing. Canada doesn't have enough housing.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that you can have. I don't think that the banking aside. If you're basing the banking collapses off of the real estate market, I don't see how that's going to happen, because the majority of mortgages in the U.S. The majority of home ownership in the U.S. their mortgages are locked in at those low rates. Like we don't have the same type of scenario here where we
got a
term out
huge
of our rate.
advantage, yeah, huge advantage.
Massive advantage.
But as opposed to here, right? Because
we don't have
renewals,
that.
they say there's
Yeah.
big renewals coming in 25, 26.
Yeah.
And are people going to be able to renew their mortgages at these higher interest rates that
Well,
they
here
had very low?
there's a couple things like there's already a ton of news coming out that the banks are just gonna like increase amortizations.
Yeah.
Like I've seen people negotiating their rates right down. Like they don't want to own these houses, man.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't want to own these houses, and they'll push out amortize. I've got a couple houses right now that were variable, and they're like, "Hey, your amortization's like 70 years," and I'm like, "Great, I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care. It's cash flowing. I don't care. Like, extend it out. I don't give a shit. Like, I actually don't care."
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Because you're cash flow based, right?
Yeah.
So when you look at a real estate investment, that's what you look at. How much money am I making monthly off this, basically?
Like so a couple points. Like I want to make sure that the property's cash flowing for sure. Mm-hmm. I'm not also looking to, a lot of people look at real estate where they want to assume a cash flowing property because they want to retire, or they want that to assume their monthly expenses, and they want to trade their day job for cash flowing real estate. And like the amount of real estate you actually need for that to happen is like, you know what I mean? It's a lot. So, so there's that, but I buy cash flowing property so that in times like this, in the event you do get strapped, you're not like handing back your keys. Right. So that's why I like cash flowing property, and it also allows for, unexpected expenses and things like that. But I don't buy real estate. I'm not buying real estate to get rich off the cash flow. Cash flow pays the bills, and it pays unexpected expenses.
Right.
Like you get rich by like cycling in and out of the property if you buy the right. Like I just so to answer your question, how's the market? I don't know. I bought 4 duplexes 3 years ago, and I just made like $800,000. I just sold them.
Oh, and you sold them.
Yeah. So like,
okay.
How bad is real estate right now? Like, according to me, like not that bad. You get what I mean? Like, there's still like significant demand.
Yeah.
We still have wild shortages on property.
Yeah.
I just sold the shittiest building downtown possible. The shittiest. Like I owned a downtown commercial building. It wasn't rented. The upstairs was gutted. And I made $100 on it. So like, and I only owned it for like a couple years. So like, how bad is it? Like, not that bad. So like, will it get worse? Maybe. I don't care though. Like, I'm gonna bet on real estate. I like, listen.
Also, what about that capital gains tax? Is that it is what it is?
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna do? Move to the Cayman Islands? Like, okay. Like, that's
Oh,
great.
you were thinking-
I was like, I'm not even joking. I was on my way.
Yeah.
Like, did you tell you that?
No.
Yeah, I was on my way. And then I
Really?
bought BioSteel. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I was on my way, man. I had all that, like, everything ready to go. I was like, I put offers in on properties down there and everything. I was on my way.
It's crazy.
I was legitimately on my way. Yeah.
Not a terrible.
I'm actually heading there on the 20th.
Are you?
Yeah.
But that government, why would they do that? That just discourages people for coming in and investing in Canada.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
What is the like? It's so.
And I got to be honest, I don't know enough about like the whole capital
Yeah.
gains change. I think there's some nuances to that, right?
Yeah.
Is there nuances?
Well,
right?
it's
Like,
250K. If you made over 250K, you're in that bracket.
It goes
of,
from 50% to 67%.
yeah.
Which
Well,
is
that's a big jump.
It is a big jump.
Yeah.
That's
It's going to force. I'm not forced, but a lot of people are going to sell
Yeah.
before that. I think it's June something. I can't
Yeah.
So
remember.
this year?
I thought it was this year.
Yeah.
Was it this year or next year? I
yeah.
can't-
I
think it's this year, June
It's
of this
happening. I think. I'm not sure exactly when actually. But
Yeah, and there's so many different stipulations too. Like, man, it's really hard to tax the rich, like fully, right?
yeah,
like it's
exactly.
really
Yeah.
difficult.
There's ways around that.
Yeah, man. There you could play with all your stuff and even like with respect to like capital gains, I think the capital gains on not this type of capital gains, but like corporate capital gains or whatever the case is, it's taxed at like what 26 and something%, something like that. Like I can't remember exactly what just happened. I just triggered capital gains on something that I did, and we ended up drawing it down to like 15. Right. So like, you know what I mean? Like you
there's
can't.
always ways around.
Yeah, and the government and all their buddies.
Sure.
They have all these rules and regulations that okay, well, hey, listen, if you're doing this and you're of this, income bracket or of this net worth, and like you have ways to not get fully fucked.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
So.
And people are waiting for the conservative government to get in, I heard, and they're going to kibosh that. That's what people are, because they said the liberals are done.
Yeah. I don't know how I don't see how they even make it come back, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
How do you come back from what they're doing?
Well,
you don't.
The only way. Well, I don't want to get into.
Right?
Who
Like,
knows? Like, is it fair election?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But the little guy is struggling. Yeah. So right now on the news, Bank of Canada warns nation renters showing signs of financial strain. So it seems like the renters are really showing signs of financial strain.
Yeah.
Seems like the working class is being destroyed by these higher interest rates and housing costs. Like if you're the small, and see, you're it's different with you. You're a big investor in that. It's a whole different ballgame. But if you're just an average Joe, you're drowning. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's just
you don't own
reality.
Assets.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's just it. They couldn't afford to purchase assets, and now they're stuck just with their 9 to 5 and living paycheck to paycheck, and inflation's going higher, and your pay is staying the same. And what's going to happen? I mean, you're just going to get more underwater. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's just a really, really ugly situation, which I don't really see. That's why I mean, when it comes to real estate, yes, long term, I'm a believer in real estate, but right now, based off of how bad inflation is about to get, interest rates, I don't think they're going to be able to pull off a bunch of interest rate cuts like they claim they're going to, because inflation's going higher. The numbers came out in the U.S. Inflation was at 3.7%, way higher than they projected. So how are you going to continue to lower rates into a rising inflation? It's going to be really, really difficult. So bottom line is these rates are probably going to be normal, and they're probably going to be around this range for years to come.
I think they should be.
So do I, if not higher, because the rate of it has to be, the interest rate has to be above the rate of inflation if they want to tame inflation. And we're not, I don't believe we're close to that currently, because I think inflation's probably closer to, who knows, 8, 9, 10%.
On the stuff you want.
On the real stuff that you're spending money on.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't see, what I don't see is really upside in residential real estate, personally, just because I don't really see how people can afford, they already can't afford these houses in Canada. I mean, a lot of these people in Canada still haven't renewed their mortgages, so they still haven't felt the pain that they're about to feel.
Yeah, like I have a different approach on that. Like in terms of my take on it, I think you're going to see a swap of what home ownership versus rental, the rental market's going to be.
What do you mean?
Right now, there's like 65% home ownership rate. Like it's gonna be flipped.
100%.
Like it's gonna start declining, and that's and then
that's gonna be a big game.
Yeah, and then those middle class people just won't be able to afford to own a home, and then it's gonna turn into Europe. Same thing happened over there.
That's sad.
100%. Like,
but
but that's the reality.
I don't think it is sad.
I know.
I think
it's just the reality of things.
People got used to, like they normalized owning a home, but in reality, it shouldn't have been. That's not a middle class. Every middle class shouldn't own a home, but that's what ended up happening because they pushed this American dream. Everybody was rushing in buying houses. The product was made for the banks and to profit off of mortgages, and they're the ones who are going to make out in the end, and they're the ones who have been making. And now these middle class families are stuck holding the bag. These valuations of their homes went up substantially. I think it's a great opportunity for them to cash in those winning lottery tickets. Their home went up 2-3 times in value. Sell your house. Buy some other assets that actually, because I don't really see a lot of upside coming in real estate in Canada per se in the next 5 to 10 years. I just don't. I don't really see a resurgence of the real estate market and people just rushing in to buy houses like they used to when there was 20, 30 offers on a house. I just don't see that coming back.
Yeah,
I don't know what your thoughts are.
No, I don't think so either. But I
unless they lower the rates.
Yeah,
but even then, it's a short term.
I still think like bar none, real estate is like by far the best asset to actually like build wealth.
It's
like,
definitely the number one asset where people got wealthy. No question.
I don't think that like maybe you don't obviously see the rush of people trying to go buy houses at that rate, which I don't think is good for anybody, investors included. But you still have a scenario where, you know, the cat's kind of out of the bag. You can make a lot of money on real estate. I don't think that even in the event that, like, look at what we just went through. Like, you know, rates got pretty high. The real estate market didn't die. Nope. And, you know, at the end of the day, the banks are run like a cartel with the government, and the government dictates what the banks are going to do. And at the end of the day, is the government really going to take down the banking industry? I don't believe so. Is the government going to be willing to sit on the housing market and let that tank? No, I don't think so either. Mm-hmm. I think that we're so manipulated. The market is so manipulated. I think that it'll just manipulate it even more. And who knows? Maybe in 20 years, we're just like a normal, you know.
So you don't see a housing crash coming in Canada?
No, I don't think so.
Ever?
No. And if it does, I'll just buy more houses.
Well, it will create amazing opportunity, no question.
Like, I come from 2008.
You're
like,
right.
I come from it's not going to be a scenario where, and all my shit is like heavily under leveraged. So like, I don't care. Like,
right.
I don't see it
because you're not going to be forced to sell in that.
No, and I don't see it. Nor has anybody been able to predict anything like that. So
no,
like,
they've been wrong over and over again.
100%.
No question.
So like, I can't sit here and be like, hey, listen, like, this is what's going to happen with real estate. I continue to buy good deals, and that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, so earnings for McDonald's, Kraft, and Coke, huge companies, say low-income consumers are finally breaking, unable to keep up with inflation. Meanwhile, this is really crazy. It's record sales for luxury brands. Lamborghini just sold 10,000 cars for the first time in history. Yeah. So it seems like the 1%...
The gap is
widening.
going
up, yeah. And like that's what I'm saying. There's no middle class. Mm-hmm. We are going to a future of rich and poor. What do you guys think? Like,
I think that's exactly what's happening, and I think that gap is just going to widen over the years. I mean, the 1% obviously is getting wealthy because asset prices are going up, and they own assets. The middle class doesn't own assets, unfortunately. And that's the big difference. So the 1% is going to continue to get wealthier and wealthier, and the middle class is going to continue to struggle as inflation goes higher and higher because they're not making any more on their salary. What's pay going up? 2 to 3%. If you're lucky, you get a raise of 2 to 3%. Inflation's at least 5%. I mean, you're losing. Yeah. How are you going to get ahead? They don't even have extra money to invest at the end of the year. So it's
or they're not willing to change the lifestyle.
Well, that's the big thing, right? Yeah. They got accustomed to a certain lifestyle. Mm-hmm. Now with inflation going up, you need to hone in those spending. You can't be spending what you used to. You got to find ways to save money and invest. Because if you're not investing, you have zero chance of retiring at a decent age. You're going to be working the rest of your life. So you have to force yourself to invest a certain percentage of your salary. And I mean, the people I know, I don't see it. I don't see the middle class really investing a big percentage of their earnings right now.
Okay, I totally agree with that. But going back to our last episode, we had that stat: 1 out of 4 Canadians don't have $500 saved up.
Right.
That's disastrous.
Yeah.
That is. So you guys, we want to give the viewers some inside scoop here. What's the next big thing, or what do you promote? Like, where should you be investing? Is it Bitcoin? Is it silver, stock market, real estate, bonds? Give a suggestion to our viewers, like how to get out of this hole. Because the people that are struggling, that want, a better life for their family. Like, maybe Dan, you could start off something, buy BioSteel.
Like I'm,
and that's
it's a tough one.
You know what I mean. Maybe like, what's the next big thing? Like, what's the next hot thing that people should be in? Is it?
I don't know anything. I don't know anything about those things that you just mentioned.
Okay.
I know real estate.
Well, I said real estate.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
But other than those other things, I don't know any of those investment models. In my opinion, what I think the smartest thing to do is reduce your quality of living, or your standard of living. I shouldn't say quality, but standard of living. Right. Reduce it. And
so no Gucci purses for your wife?
No. Like, no crazy cars.
Stop going to Starbucks every day.
Yeah, like that type of shit. Like it all adds up. It significantly adds up, right?
Yeah.
Do whatever you can to save as much money as possible, and I would put it in some sort of stock probably maybe even like a blue chip that you're getting some sort of income coming in
But
on.
hold on, you don't do stock.
No, I know, but this is where I'm going.
Oh, okay.
So, and do something until you get enough money so that you can buy real estate. That's my take.
Okay.
Or save as much money as humanly possible, as fast as possible. Take advantage of the CMHC, only 5% down,
Right.
which is not a lot of money that you actually have to save. Get into your own house personally.
Yeah.
Get into a value add home, right? Some home that you can, put some lipstick or do some minor renovations if you're not that type of guy that's
Right.
like super handy. I wasn't super handy. When I brought my first package of real estate and about 14 condos in Lagoyo, I was on YouTube trying to figure out how to like do cabinets, flooring,
Really?
replace toilets, and I was
Wow.
I was on YouTube. Like, so anybody can learn it. It's not that difficult. And I would work 8 hours at the store
Right.
and then go and do these renovations at night. So like
Right.
this isn't something that people can't do. And then I would live in it as my principal residence, and then I'd flip that into another home and keep on repeating and take advantage of the principal residence capital gains exempt tax. So that's what I would do, and then I would continue to, I would continue that cycle multiple times, bank as much money or keep rolling my money, and then until you had enough money to, like, say for example, then own your own house, live in it. Or rent a place, which there's an argument for like never owning your home.
I'm cool with that.
Right? Rent a place, but then continue to own real estate assets by doing that. Like that's what if I could, and I say that by my own. I say that if I could rewind a clock and go backwards in time, that's what I would personally do.
Wow.
Like if I and especially if I was like at the same point in my life now, like late teens, early 20s, that is the exact thing that I would do right now.
Yeah, because I think the biggest
Exact.
problem now is most of their wealth is in their own personal residence. And they're not really giving themselves any other opportunities to make wealth. Just they hoping their house goes up in value. But are they ever going to sell it and downsize? So are they really ever profiting by their own home value going up? It just gives you that illusion that you're wealthier than you actually are.
Yeah.
Because if you're not going to take advantage of that and sell it and rent and invest it in something else that could go up in value, I mean, where are you actually?
Or continue to cycle. I would take advantage of that. Like, you got to think, like,
Sure.
say the average home price right now on like an average 3-bed, 1-house or 3-bed, 1-bath house right now in Windsor is like $400-something thousand. So you got to save up 20 grand.
Yeah.
Like, if you can't save up 20 grand, even like working minimum wage, like, come on, guy.
Well,
Like,
that's the
like
other
I've
thing.
worked out some numbers. Like, you can fucking do it if you really wanted to.
For sure.
Like,
And if you can't, find a side hustle. Like that. That's one thing I'm really pushing now is like you got to find something you're passionate about and figure out a way to make some money off
I
of
disagree with that.
it. Passion irrelevant?
No, I don't like passion.
You don't like passion?
I don't like passion.
Okay. Give me
Yeah.
well, the reason I say that is because if you're doing something you love every day, and that's honestly how I started my business. The gold and silver was something I was passionate about. I'm like, how can I? And I decided to sell it. So now I'm able to meet with people, talk to people about gold and silver on a daily basis, which is what I love because I've been educating myself about it for years and years and years. So it worked for me, and I'm just using my own personal experience.
Yeah.
I think passion because if you're doing what you love every single day, it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
No, I know what you're talking about. Opportunity is opportunity.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying follow your passion
Yeah.
if your passion is not going to make you any money.
I'd still argue that you don't love gold and silver. You just make money off it. And that's what you love.
No, I loved gold. I was preaching gold and silver before I even sold gold and silver.
Yeah, I don't know.
100%.
Like,
I could care less about making money off gold and silver. I'll promise you that.
Like, I don't know.
I could care less.
I like, honestly, growing up, like, I want to play hockey.
You what?
I want, yeah.
But there's ways to make money off hockey.
Wasn't good enough, but that's
That's
would.
what you were passionate about?
Yeah,
And
man.
so-
Like,
so
I
you're
am
saying-
not passionate. I fucking hate working out. I'm being serious. Like, I hate working.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck? Like, I'm not gonna
This
sit
guy's
here.
ultra successful.
Yeah, well, like
But he's being honest. Most
yeah.
people are.
I don't like fucking real estate. I don't. You think I like dealing with fucking tenants and doing renovations and all that bullshit? Like, I don't dealing with trades. Are you fucking kidding me right now?
Yeah.
Like, I don't like all that shit.
I see what you're saying.
No, I hear you.
I don't like any of that stuff. I would much rather
hear you.
sit at home, watch Netflix, and eat McDonald's all day.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I would. You want to talk about passion? There's my passion. Like, I'm being serious, and I think that that's the majority of people in life. And
know what?
What I think you're passionate about is succeeding.
Yes.
I think that
You're
think
hungry for success. And
Yes.
you've seen
That's a
that
passion.
really. That's a passion.
but
bro.
I don't think I also don't think that I am. Like, I think that
No.
no, man, you
You're
get
the most motivated, one of the most motivated guys I've ever met.
I think
You're
it's
constantly working 24/7.
because you end up getting in this fucking you end up getting so wrapped up into it that you can't. I'm competitive. That's what it is.
Okay, and
I'm
obsessive.
competitive.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm very obsessive. I'm very
Yeah.
competitive.
That comes from passion.
I don't think
That's
so.
A flame in you.
I
Come on.
might be passionate about competing, right?
Sure.
That's what I think it is. But like, you know, I'm not passionate about like the specific things that I'm doing.
Yeah,
I
I see
happen to have a greater knowledge than average on what should be in an electrolyte drink,
Yeah.
working out, what should be in a protein, what makes a good protein, like that type of stuff. So naturally, I gravitate towards things that I just happen to know more about, which allows me to be successful in it. And
What about
that's it.
Canadian protein? That was kind of a passion.
No. I fucking dropped out of school and didn't have anything else to do.
So how does protein fall into your lap?
Because I was buying it from the States. I was buying
Yeah.
it from the States for my buddies and me and my mom and all that stuff. And it was just always shit. It was difficult to get.
Right.
So I was like, well, I can do this better here. And I just did it. It wasn't like some sort of like... at that point in time, I really enjoyed working out. But like, I enjoyed working out because the way it made me look. Not when I was like in the gym and I'm like, you know, like people are like, oh man, like I love running. I get that runner's high. Like, get the fuck out of here. like I hate, like, come on. Like nobody actually wants to do, like very few people like truly enjoy physical work and labor. Like, give me a break. Like we're meant to be, we're meant to be, you know, at a state of homeostasis, like that we're not meant to like continuously progress. Like that's homeostasis keeps human race safe. We're not meant to be safe, but it's the people that are willing to take those risks that push society forward. I think that it's those people that recognize that. I think, like, put it this way, I think from my perspective, I think that the advice of trying to find your passion is a very dangerous piece of advice for people. And the reason why I feel like that is because it will truly, in my opinion, put your ability to be successful in a stranglehold. It will bottleneck your ability to be successful, like truly.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think what we call you is
100%.
you're an entrepreneur, and entrepreneurs. I don't care if you're
You know what
selling.
I'm passionate about? Freedom.
Exactly.
That's
and
what I'm
that's why
passionate about.
that's why you're an entrepreneur.
That's
to,
what I'm
to
passionate
attain
about.
freedom, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's really why I own my
Yeah.
own business and why I work as hard as I do. Because
Yeah.
one day I feel I want the opportunity to do whatever I want, and for
Yeah.
my family to do whatever they want, and don't feel like they have to go to work. I mean, I think that's what we're all trying to achieve
Yeah.
at one point.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I think you're an entrepreneur. You may not be you don't have to be passionate about every single product you sell. You just, if you're an entrepreneur, you're an entrepreneur. You could sell anything.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I think that you could be.
But are you really passionate? I'm gonna test you. Are you really passionate about freedom?
Yeah, dude.
Okay, sell everything right now and go on a beach and go like this. Chill out for the rest of your life. You made it.
I could do that if I want.
So do it. You're passionate about freedom.
but-
no,
but-
because
He's not ready yet.
he's passionate about succeeding.
No. Because
and being successful.
No.
That's what I'm trying to make.
No. Because if I
Because he could sell everything and,
I don't
and
know
go
about
to the
passion.
Cayman
I
Islands
don't think
and retire
passionate's the
right
right word. He just
but I won't
chooses
have
to
enough
be.
money to do exactly what, like, dude.
Yeah.
If I sell everything that I want right now, I won't be able to buy a fucking yacht. I won't be able to buy a G7. Like, I won't have enough money. Like, I need more money. If I'm gonna sell, like, I gotta sell like everything for like a bill. I can't sell everything for like 200, 300. It's not, honestly, like, I know that sounds crazy, but I ain't enough money.
Give me 300 million, I'll show you how to live.
But but, like, I'm being
runs
serious.
out
Like, exactly. Like, it's not enough. It's just not enough.
Well, I
and
beg to
I like
differ.
I like the competitive nature of it too.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, so this is, maybe I'm compassionate about.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm
fine.
just trying to find your flame.
Passion and competitiveness. So this is actually really interesting. I was at the Canadian Protein sponsors University of Windsor football, right?
Oh, cool.
And I was at the football gala, and I had a couple conversations with some football players that were MBA graduates. And one of the guys we ended up hiring like almost on the spot at the gala. He came in the next Monday and we hired him.
Oh, nice.
So really, really cool guy, young. And I was talking to him and I was like, listen, you know, in our environment, in the nutritional world and whatever we're doing, CPG and you know, the business world, I was like, if you think you competed at the highest level at university or whatever, you weren't. This is the highest level of competitiveness, is business. Like, and you want to talk about, you can typically see the knife coming at you in sports or whatever. You can't see the knife coming at you in business. Right. It's coming from behind. You're right. And you want to talk about being the smartest, the most ruthless and like type of human being, be successful in business. That's the most ruthless human, is if you can be truly successful in business, in my opinion. Yeah. Because it takes everything: physical, emotional, mental, like all that shit. Wow. All that shit. So like, so it kind of, I could tell, like when I was talking like that, it was like hyping him up because he's used to that competitive nature playing football, you know, at a high level, and he wants that same competitiveness. Mm-hmm. You can get that in business. Oh, definitely. Right? Like you can get that here where, you know, like every day I go to work and I'm like, how am I going to fuck these other guys up? Like that's my mentality, because I know that they're thinking the exact same thing about me.
It has to be.
And that's my mentality is like, okay, so if you're thinking that about me, I got to stay sharp. I got to be better. You know, that's why I'm in the gym, you know, throwing around weight, because if we do end up meeting in person, I got to know that I could fuck you up in person too. And you need to know that. Like for real, I need to know that if we're sitting across a desk from each other, like I need to know that I can take you out if I want. And don't think for 1 second that won't play into like the way that he's thinking. Yeah. Like for sure, it'll fuck him up mentally, for real. Yeah. And he might make a mistake or whatever, because you know, and that's important to me. I don't know how else to approach it. That's what I have. That's what I bring to the table. And maybe that's wrong. I don't know. I don't care. But
you need that, you know.
No, I love it. You gotta have that instinct.
You need that. You need that, like mentality. You need a killer instinct.
Killer instinct. That's
because if you don't have it, someone's gonna. It's dog eat dog, man. Someone's gonna eat you. It is what it is. Like someone's gonna fucking gobble you up.
And your goal is to be a billionaire, obviously, right?
Like, sure.
Yeah, just like everyone's, right?
Yeah.
But the thing,
I put it out there.
Billionaires are not, people who have become billionaires are not nice people. But you're a nice guy.
They're not nice people.
But they're not the nicest. How do you think they became a billionaire? You have to be what he was saying.
You don't have to be.
Oh, ruthless.
In
lot
business,
of them are.
Yes, yeah.
Like,
look, you don't need to be a bad person.
Yeah, but to be there, to get to that level, I don't know, man. There's not too many billionaires that, you know.
I couldn't tell you. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I don't know.
I don't either.
You know
I'm just getting from what I'm reading.
And I do think to some extent a lot of them are demonized, like because like we could say that they're nice people all we want, but we don't like know them. Right?
Yeah,
we don't actually know them.
There's a lot of billionaires. What are they doing for the greater good?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're really they're selfish. You know. Yeah.
But like okay, put it this way though. Like take a billionaire. In order to get to $1 billion, think about how much wealth you've had to generate and how many lives you've actually changed by like the jobs that you've done.
Like billionaires provide more value than
anybody. Like you pick any billionaire, they've done more for human society than Mother Teresa. I don't care what anybody 100%. Says. I don't give a fuck.
And yet,
so
really?
Yes, 100%. Think about it.
Some of them,
but yet that's who they want to keep taxing. It's like you're going after the wrong people.
Destructive too.
Sure, I'm not saying they're not, but that's just like human society.
Like is Bill Gates a reputable billionaire?
Yeah.
No. I don't know.
Like give Green Shirt there $1 billion and he might be a bad person. Like we don't know. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You know, like for real. Like I don't know. Like give me $1 billion, I might change. I don't fucking know. Like I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I like to think that I'd be the same person, but like you start getting up into that range, like there might be all kinds of like influence and strings that are you know being pulled on you that you might be forced to change. Like I don't know, dude. Like I'm not there. Talk to me in like a couple years. Like I don't know. You know what I mean? Like if it ever gets there, like who knows, man? I don't know. I have no idea, right? Like,
are you gonna be drinking blood from a lot of billionaires are?
You know, at the end of the day, like I don't know, man. Like I think that they've, billionaires have provided a lot of value for a lot of people.
Of course, you can make that. You can make the argument both ways.
Yeah, and are there bad ones? Sure. Are there bad people?
Yeah,
sure.
Of course.
Like, there might be the, say for, like, to be honest with you, I think there's a lot more bad people in the world than there are good. Number one, I think people just refuse to realize it. Yeah. So would that ratio be the same amongst billionaires? Probably, sure. Mm-hmm. I think that people like to demonize them, though, like is, no matter what. You get that billionaire status or millionaire status, you're automatically demonized.
Right. Yeah,
right.
I agree with
like,
that.
no question. Right. Mm-hmm. So who wants to like successful people? People don't like successful people.
On this more, I want to give you guys this question about Elon Musk. You guys are both CEOs. So do you think Elon Musk, do you think he's a protector of freedom because he bought X and he gave everybody a free platform for freedom of speech? Or is he the next Lex Luthor? Bringing EVs. What else is he? Starlink. He's linked to government contracts. Is X grabbing data so it could be the next WeChat, like in China, where the social credit system? People, the online, like, where do you see Elon Musk? Is he good or bad? In that sense, we're talking billionaires now.
I've never really trusted or liked Elon Musk, to be honest with you. I know he says a lot of things that people want to hear, but I think that's just controlled opposition a little bit. I mean, they want you to make you believe like this guy is for the people. Right. I don't think anything could be further from the truth. I think his power is going to allow him to achieve the evil that the elites, the globalists, want to achieve, and they're going to use him to accomplish those goals. But they need to make people like Elon Musk to believe in him, to allow him to do what he's doing, instead of demonizing him or questioning him. So I'm not a fan of Elon Musk, and I don't believe in anything he says.
Oh, okay.
The only thing that I've seen that's weird with respect to him is, a couple times he's come out and is like, AI is the worst thing that's ever going to happen. Yeah. Pretty much, whatever. I'm paraphrasing. Whatever.
Right? He's come out and said multiple times.
But doesn't he own like a bunch of AI?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand.
There you go.
But I don't understand. I don't know.
There you go.
Maybe I don't know what he's doing with it. Right?
Yeah. Nobody does.
Yeah, and then doesn't he own? Like, I know he's. I'm pretty sure he's talked about. The whole what is that called? The brain link or whatever.
Yeah,
what's that called?
Neuralink.
Neuralink.
That's a huge thing.
I think he's talked about that before, about how that's dangerous, but he's doing it.
Yeah.
And then I don't understand. Like, I am not personally. I'm not like bought into the electric vehicle narrative. Like, I'm not bought into that. I know enough people that were working at, some of the big three that, obviously we're tied in with the big three being in Windsor here. So we know a lot of people, engineers, stuff like that. I know
battery plant.
I know a lot of engineers that were working on the EV projects in the big three. So they have like a very intimate, insider viewpoint of the EV market, and they were just like, this is so not the future. It's not. And they were like, if you saw what actually went on behind the scenes of EVs, you would absolutely be shocked. Like, with respect to like the child labor, the way that it's mined, the fact that the resources in order to make the batteries are also not renewable. Right. So like, we're mining non-renewable minerals, but natural gas is bad. Like, what's the argument there? I don't understand the actual argument, right? And then not only are we either using, child or the poorest of the poor labor to get those minerals so that you don't have to use fossil fuels, or you're using fossil fuels to get the minerals. So like, what are we doing?
Exactly.
Right? So it's really weird. And again, I don't know enough about the whole narrative about the electric vehicle thing. I'm not an engineer like these guys were, but when they were talking about it, it made a lot of sense, and it was a very confusing situation to me where like it sounds very politicized why that whole narrative is being pushed. Totally. In my opinion. And then when something gets politicized, I don't believe it. Exactly. So I think that there's an ulterior motive there for sure. Whatever that is, I don't know, but That's my viewpoint on Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Do I like the shit he says sometimes?
Yeah, for
he's
sure,
funny.
of course. Yeah,
He's a funny fucking guy sometimes.
one of my issues with him too is on the crypto side of things. Like, how many times did he promote Dogecoin, which is a coin that does nothing? Like,
Really,
Bitcoin is actually the key to freedom for the world. Like, it could take over the whole banking system. You wouldn't need banks. Slavery would be completely gone from humanity. Bitcoin could save humanity and bring freedom to everybody. Yet he pushes some meme coin called Dogecoin that has no use case, not being used today for really anything. So I mean that alone tells me everything I need to know about a guy
there you go.
as smart as he's supposed to be.
So why can I take this fucking mic here?
Yeah.
Where we go? Okay, I'm gonna do this. How's that guy? We're good? There we go. I'm doing this. So give me like a scenario where like the whole Dogecoin thing doesn't make sense, and why Bitcoin is the I understand
Dogecoin
that.
was created as a joke.
Yeah.
That was its original reason it was created. It was a total joke. They're called meme coins now.
Yeah.
They're dog coins.
Yeah.
And they've become popular because they've performed well over the years.
Yeah.
When Elon Musk used to talk about Dogecoin, as soon as he would mention the word, it would go up 100, 200%.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what people started to buy. So instead of buying a real amazing Bitcoin, a cryptocurrency, which is Bitcoin, they were buying Dogecoin. And now they're looking for all these other meme coins for the next big winner instead of just buying Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Bitcoin's amazing because it's decentralized. There's no president or CEO. The code can't be changed. It's scarce. There's only 19.5 million Bitcoin in the world. There's only going to be 21 million in its full existence. So in 140 years, that'll be it for Bitcoin.
In 140 years?
Yeah, that's
It's going
when
to take that long?
To mine the rest of the Bitcoin, yes. We're at 19.5 million now.
Wow.
So every 4 years, it gets cut in half, the new Bitcoin. So last year, they were making 500 Bitcoin a day. Now it's 250.
Wow.
In 4 years, it will be 125, and it's going to keep going down.
Wow.
So it's a very scarce asset.
It just bumped too, didn't it?
Price-wise?
Yeah.
It's coming down today, but yeah,
I mean, like
from the time we spoke last, Bitcoin was
huge,
around
isn't it?
25,000.
What's it now?
It's 60.
Yeah, that's a pretty big jump in
Got
my
to
book,
73.
wouldn't you say?
Yeah. I mean,
I just don't know anything about it. Like, it sounds all great and everything. I love the scarcity of stuff. Like, and that's why I like real estate too, because at the end of the day, how long does it take to build a house? Real estate's built with commodity products, right? In limited supply. So that's why I do like real estate. So the concept of Bitcoin makes a lot of sense to me. These other coins like make no sense.
No, they don't.
Not to me, right?
Most of them don't. I mean, trust me, there's probably only going to
investor.
be 100, 200 winners in the end.
Yeah.
There's thousands and thousands of
Is that right,
cryptocurrency. But Bitcoin has the potential to be the winner when it comes to store of wealth and currency. So that's basically, I call it digital gold. That's basically all it's trying to accomplish. You own your own keys. You keep your Bitcoin in your own possession. It can't be touched. The government doesn't know you own it. You can send it to China in seconds for very minimal costs.
Yeah.
I mean, it checks all the boxes for currency. It's better currency than gold because who's going to bring a block of gold to pay for stuff? It's just not possible.
Yeah.
Even crossing borders with gold is not gold is a store of wealth. And money, but not currency. Where cryptocurrencies can actually be a currency and money.
Case
it has
everything.
a use case, an amazing use case, and with that, with cryptocurrencies now, you do no longer need banks. If you want to borrow money, you can go on a blockchain for Aave, for example, and you can borrow on using these cryptocurrencies. You don't need a bank, and you get better yields. You can put your money into into a cryptocurrency, earn yield. You can earn 8 to 12% right now.
Wow.
So they have a whole ecosystem using cryptocurrencies that would no longer need banks. Humanity does not need banks. And the banks know this. And that's why the banks are so anti-crypto.
Of course.
And because it's a direct threat against the banking system.
For sure.
So Bitcoin is an amazing, powerful tool that...
But does nobody truly control it? I've seen a lot of rumors about like actual Bitcoin being controlled to some extent, or the people just don't simply know who the guy is, right?
Nobody knows who the guy is.
Yeah.
And you never
What if
will.
there is a guy?
I don't think there is a guy, personally.
But you don't think, right?
Well, even if there is a guy, it doesn't matter. The code is set and it's fixed and it can't be changed. So that's the big thing about Bitcoin. You can't
Like, you know that for sure?
Yes.
How do you know that for sure?
listen, I'm not a tech guy. I'm not a coder. It's not like I studied the code and said, "Yep." But the smartest minds in the world have.
Yeah.
They've been trying to hack this for many, many years,
Yeah.
and it's only been around 12, 13 years.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it hasn't been. It can't be hacked. The scarcity is guaranteed.
Okay, let me add this one. So this is interesting. Everybody says follow the money. So for the last 2 years, central banks have bought a record, 2,100 tons of gold. Now, why are central banks so aggressively acquiring gold? Mike, you could probably lead this off.
Yeah, I mean,
That's a Mike question.
yeah.
No, but why? To me, that tells me that's scary because they have no value in cash, right?
Why? What is their other options of holding? Why would they want dollars, which is essentially the treasury bond market?
Right.
So are they buying bonds? No. Well, they are because they have to. Their central banks are printing money and buying their own bonds, but that's just to keep interest rates suppressed. They're not buying them as an investment per se.
Okay.
So as investment-wise, of course they're going to buy gold because they know that they're going to continue to print and inflate away the currency. So eventually gold has no choice but to go up in price as they continue to inflate, continue to keep interest rates suppressed, continue to print more money, new money printing programs, quantitative easing. So gold has always been historically money. And when an old currency system dies and they go on to a new currency system, it's always backed by gold. So eventually we're going to go to a gold standard. And countries around the world know this, like China. So China's preparing to be the next power of the world. So they want to be the next reserve currency of the world. Right now it's been the United States, and it's been them for quite some time now.
Because China's buying up the most gold out of all countries.
China,
right?
for sure.
China and India too, I heard.
India's buying a lot of silver as well,
Yeah.
which is very interesting. So they're buying commodities, and they're essentially doing what I believe in. I believe commodities right now is the best investment to be in. Real hard, tangible things that people need to live. Mm-hmm. That's what's going to go up in price. As the dollar continues to inflate itself away, they continue to print more money, commodities are going to go up in price. And commodities have performed very, very poorly over the past few decades. As stocks and bonds performed amazing, and real estate. And the reason those three asset classes performed so well since the 1980s is because interest rates have been coming down since 1980. So you have over 40 years in a row of interest rates coming from 15% down to near zero. Now they're going back up, and now you're starting to see real estate starting to perform not so well. Bonds performing very poorly. A lot of these banks are underwater because of how much they own in bonds. Okay, because those bonds they purchased were at 2 or 3%, and now they're at 5% or 4.5%, 5%. So all those bonds that they bought back in the day are underwater. Very poor investments. So they know that so I believe this next decade is going to be a commodities bull market led by precious metals, and you're going to see traditional asset classes, real estate, stocks, and bonds perform poorly. And that's exactly what happened in the 1970s, because we went through a period of stagflation. The economy was slowing and prices were going higher. That's exactly what we're seeing right now. This next decade is going to be a decade of stagflation. Inflation is going to continue to run higher, and the economy is going to continue to slow. And during that decade, gold and silver are by far the best performing assets. Silver up 41 times, gold up 25 times, and stocks and real estate each performed poorly. Under 150% was their returns. So that's exactly what I think is going to happen. That's why they're buying gold, because they know it's a no-brainer asset to own. And if they want to be the reserve currency of the world, China, they need as much gold as possible. And right now, they're not even close to the U.S. I'm sure they have a lot of hidden gold reserves somewhere, but...
and Canada, how much?
Zero.
Zero.
So Canada is one of the only countries in the world that doesn't hold any gold.
Is that right?
Zero.
So when this
Go
system
figure,
resets, Canada is going to be one of the worst countries to live in, because whoever has the most gold will have the most power, and Canada is going to have zero power. So we're going to be completely dependent on the global.
But we have natural resources.
Sure.
We're rich in natural resources. Would that save us?
That's
maybe?
going to help us, but
Yeah.
we're just going to get it taken over. So instead of us, the citizens of Canada, earning the rewards of these natural resources, we're going to be giving them away to globalists.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Because we're going to need the money. We're going to need to be bailed out. And we'll get bailed out, but we're going to give up all of our natural resources for it.
Wow, that's interesting. What's your take on that? Pretty, like...
My take on it is if as a real estate owner, if it gets to that point, like the last thing that I'm worried about is my real estate. in my opinion. And
well, I think
and-
real estate will still hold its value, right? In a sense,
To a certain degree,
yeah.
but there will be
if that ever,
there will be a correction, a
because
short-term
that's an asset.
housing
That's
market crisis for sure.
People need land.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think real estate is.
But again, that decade I was referring to in the 70s,
Yeah.
real estate did not perform that well.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, will real estate still go up? Yeah, but not. It won't keep up with inflation. That's all
okay.
I'm saying.
Yeah, that's a
I
good
don't
point.
believe.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but
I mean, I think that in my opinion, it goes back to simple supply and demand.
Yeah.
That's what it goes back to. Like, we just don't have enough. We can't build enough. We don't have enough. And in terms of any kind of commodity,
But
when that happens,
that's an interesting point because I also have the theory that people are going to start leaving Canada and the United States for freedom or for more opportunity. So
Where are
let's
you
just
gonna go?
say, well, wherever the opportunity is,
But
wherever they
where-
can
where-
afford to live, South America, for example,
yeah, I don't know.
Mexico, for example, it's affordable.
Yeah, it's affordable.
Canada's
It's
not
fucked up.
sure. I'm not saying there's a perfect place to go to,
Yeah.
but there are options. Canada and the United States are not the only place in the world. To
Yeah,
live.
for
There's
sure.
better places with more freedom.
Yeah.
There's better cost of living.
Yeah.
So I mean, I just think that people are. I think you could see a 20 to 30% decline in population over the next 10 years in Canada and potentially the U.S. More so Canada. So when that happens, now your supply-demand theory kind of goes out the window.
100%. I don't see that happening.
don't see it happening.
No, I don't see that happening.
You people are just going to stick it out, even though the freedoms are gone. The banking system's broken. There's no jobs.
No, I don't know about that.
Let's
right?
just say
Like,
that there's no jobs. Let's just say
Yeah.
that. Let's just go with the economy crashing.
yeah,
And there's no jobs in Canada. Inflation's just still going higher.
yeah,
And it's not sustainable to live here anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, people have to. It's not like people didn't move away from other countries. It's happening
Yeah.
still today. It will happen forever.
It's happening now. There's
Yeah.
over
You're
4
already starting
million
to see it.
people that moved away from Canada since 2015. I know it's almost 10 years, but
Yeah.
4 million people leaving Canada. That's not a good sign.
yeah. My point though is, if that's happening,
Yeah.
I feel like buying gold, buying real estate, doing all that kind of shit is like the last thing that's
Yeah.
going to be on our mind.
I hear
That's like apocalypse shit, right?
Yeah.
Like that to me is like, now we're like Venezuela.
Sure.
There's rioting in the streets.
Sure.
The-
But I
like-
do think that's
No, not-
inevitable.
yeah,
So that, I think it's inevitable.
you-
I think a total collapse of the economy and society is a 100% guarantee. I think the system was designed to fail. We're in a debt-based economy. We're in a fiat currency system. There's never been a fiat currency system in history that's ever worked long term. It always crashes. Same reason Venezuela dollar collapsed. It's fiat. It's backed by nothing. Our
Yeah.
dollar's going to collapse too. It's just a
Yeah.
slower, drawn out.
Yeah.
Because U.S. is the reserve currency of the world, and
Yeah.
Yeah, so that
gives
could
them
be
huge advantages.
years
It
from
could
now.
go
Yeah.
longer than.
Yeah.
It won't be a Venezuela situation, but it could happen a lot quicker than we think.
Yeah, that's fair. My perspective is like my personal perspective. This isn't like necessarily advice for people. But my perspective is climb the socioeconomic ladder as fast as humanly fucking possible. So that shit matters less to you. You can go wherever you want. You can go to those countries
Yeah.
where it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
You can
exactly.
go
You
to
can get-
wherever where it's not failing, or you have the freedom to do whatever, to go to Mexico in gated communities where it actually is safe, where you're not going to get fucking decapitated by the cartel, or like you know what I'm talking about,
Yeah,
like
exactly,
that
yeah.
type of shit. Like that's the thing, right? Like, but for the average Joe, like, should they be worrying about that? Like, I think they should be buying assets, whether it's gold, real
Yeah, I don't
estate,
care
like
either.
all
As long
that
as you're
type of
buying
stuff.
something, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
to circumvent whatever's happening. But my point is, the average Joe, they're not going to be able to climb the socioeconomic ladder fast enough and high enough so that in the event that does happen, that crash, it's not going to matter. They're fucked no matter what.
Well-
No matter what they own, no matter how much gold, no matter how much real estate,
Yeah.
it's not going to matter to them. It's irrelevant, in my opinion. Because they're not going to be able to hop on their fucking jet like P. Diddy just did and go fucking
You're right.
go to whatever
Yeah.
non-extradited country that he's sitting in over there because he doesn't want to be held in a cell. So like at the end of the day, like, does it really matter to Joe Schmo?
Right.
Not really, probably.
No,
Do I think they're gonna have a better chance of like circumventing whatever's going on? Yeah, probably. Like, in my opinion, I think that the goal should be just get ahead in life.
Right.
And if that happens, you're going to have to probably let the chips fall where they are.
No, you're
and
right.
you're going to be more concerned about
Yeah.
protecting your family rather than like fucking, what's going on with my gold bar. Like,
But-
that's my opinion, right? Or
Yeah,
what's
I'm
going,
just trying to.
or
And
what's
the
going
reason
on
I'm
with
so
my rental.
passionate about it, and I keep
You
bringing
know?
this up, because I do want people to save themselves financially at least.
For
That's
sure.
all I can do. I can't help them in
100%,
any other
yeah.
way, but I can help them steer them in the right direction when
Yeah.
it comes to finances.
Oh, 100%.
It's truly what I believe.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm 100% certain I'm going
Yeah.
to be right.
Yeah.
It's just I've done the homework.
Yeah.
I believe in it, which makes me passionate about it and
Yeah.
educated about it. And I'm going to continue to tell people to do these things because I want them to be okay financially in the
Yeah,
end. So
for
where,
sure.
where their family's set and they're not going to be
Yeah.
looking for handouts.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah,
last
for
place
sure.
you want to be.
Yeah.
Is where you're not protected.
Oh yeah, and I totally agree with that. Like, that's what I agree with. I'm coming from the perspective of if like that kind of stuff happens, like maybe you should be selling your gold for some guns.
Yeah.
Right, like
Yeah.
maybe it's coming down to that kind of
Well, I
stuff.
think you need both.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, exactly. So like maybe some tanks too while you're at it. So like
Well, hey.
so maybe from that perspective,
Wow.
that's my take
if
on
the-
like
if-
if that happens, that's my, like, we're all fucked.
Right.
Like, anybody left over, no
That's
matter
worst
who,
case
we're all
scenario.
fucked.
If the 70s repeat itself,
Yeah.
right? Then
Sure, and we get away with it.
then being in an asset like gold and silver is going to benefit you. It's like having financial insurance. Everybody's got car insurance. Everybody's got home insurance. Everybody's got life insurance. But do you have financial insurance?
Right.
Right.
That's
so
essentially what gold is.
that's basically all what gold. Silver might be a little multiplier.
Sure, yeah,
Because
it's a
the
multiplier,
demand.
for sure.
Back to supply and demand, because silver is used for everything,
Yeah.
especially in the tech world, right?
Literally.
So I think you could sleep better at night if you have a diversified portfolio and you have some precious metals there. Because if the shit ever hit the fan and the 70s ever repeated itself, you're kind of safe. Yeah, your value of your money, but your precious metals will skyrocket, right?
I also think it's important to stick with what you know, right? Like,
Yeah, I
who is a pretty famous investor that said basically like a diversified portfolio is a portfolio that is just like
I remember.
not
I'm
smart or
sure.
stupid, or
I
you're
remember
just a
that line.
stupid guy.
Yeah, it doesn't
like
make-
you just don't understand like what you're doing. Right,
Sure.
like as a diversified portfolio.
Yeah.
That's why I just don't buy anything else, because I don't know enough about anything else.
Yeah,
Like, who knows? Maybe I am gonna, if I end up learning more about a specific asset, maybe
Yeah.
I will. But
Sure.
I don't know. I've never
Right.
bought a stock in my life. I've never bought precious metals. I know real estate, and I've done well in real estate, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know
That
anything. I know
works.
I know
That
business and I
works.
know real estate. That's all I know, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I think it's also like you got to stick to what you know, right?
You're right, and I
You know,
stick to
and-
metals and crypto. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not even thinking about looking at real estate.
Yeah, there
at
you go,
this
right?
point,
Like,
right? It
and I
doesn't
don't
even
know
cross
enough-
my mind because
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
ingrained in my mind because that's
Yeah.
not what I'm immersed in.
Yeah, exactly. I tried my luck at like the crypto thing. I got like 22 cards, like a mining rig and everything, and I'm just like, it's just not my thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's not my thing. So,
No, I hear you.
but she's running.
That's awesome.
How well it's doing, I don't really know. I don't really keep tabs on it, but she's going. She makes the office hot. So yeah.
All right.
Cool.
All right, man. Well, thank you very much for your
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
Thanks
Dan.
for coming in today. Congrats again on BioSteel and the success.
crazy.
And the turnaround. It's I'm looking forward to see how things progress with that.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Yeah. Awesome.
Is there anything else you want to plug, or you've been?
Yeah,
you've plugged? This is it.
Yeah. It's
Buy some BioSteel, guys.
There you go. I'm good with it. Yeah.
Cool.